Okay. So I'm going to go through this, guys. And at the end of the call, I'm going to say some last minute things that are going to help us a ton when it comes to the way we do business. Okay. So, guys, before I start, if you can please pull out your pen and paper. There we go. Pen and paper. Happy birthday, Jackie. Getting younger. Okay, so 7:07, guys. How do we feel for a Monday? I feel so good. Today's been a crazy day for me, but it's been amazing. I was able to get done a lot of stuff. Um, so let's jump into the basics. Okay, today we're going to talk about final expense and whole life. Why am I going to start speaking about this? This is something that every household needs, okay? Whole life is one of the oldest life insurance strategies that we've had. And we need to understand it because that's a lot of what we're gonna be selling, okay? So, Sandra, can you click it? Because I think you have control. There we go. So, whole life. Whole life insurance provides coverage for the life of the insured for the whole life. In addition to paying a death benefit, whole life insurance also contains a savings component in which cash value may accumulate. These policies are also known as permanent or traditional life insurance. So something we need to understand is whole life is most of the time doesn't change, right? So it's fixed. So if you sell someone a whole life policy for $200, it's going to be fixed. It's not like you can start putting more money in there, move it around concerning mirroring some type of index. Literally, this is a policy for the rest of their life. Okay. Now, there's a lot of different strategies and different ways that people have created or been able to sell this. I don't know if you guys ever heard of infinite banking. Okay. So there's a strategy called infinite banking. And what that means is a lot of individuals, right, sell it that way. They say, why would you pay interest for a bank? Why don't you use a whole life policy? It's averaging good interest rate and you're able to pull out loans from it when you want to. Instead of paying interest to the bank, pay interest to your own account. Okay, so it's called infinite banking. The reason why I'm saying this is because I want you to understand different type of lingo that you're gonna hear out there in the field or from other agents, okay? Awesome. Sandra, can you go to the other? So these are key takeaways. This is something you want to write down, okay? Point number one, whole life insurance lasts for a policyholder's lifetime as opposed to term life insurance, which is for a specific amount of terms. That's the biggest differentiator. Okay. Second thing is whole life insurance is paid out to a beneficiary or beneficiaries upon the policyholder's death, provided that the premium payments were maintained. That's a key thing. Most of the time, if you just read whatever whole life policy and you don't put certain type of riders, if you've been paying in that policy for 3 years, okay, you're paying $500 a month. That means that you've paid already $18,000 in that policy. If for whatever reason you stop paying those premiums, they might cancel that policy on you. They're not as flexible as the universal life policies that they might take the premium from your cash value. So that's really important to understand. When it comes to whole life, make sure that we can cover them in case of them not being able to pay some type of premiums, okay? Third thing, whole life insurance pays a death benefit, but also has a savings component in which cash can build up. A whole life policy also has a fixed interest rate component. Whole life policies sometimes are good for people that want guarantees, okay? So people that say, Isaac, I don't care if it goes super up or down, I just wanna make sure I can make a 4 or 5% guaranteed. Then maybe you should show them a whole life versus an IUL, okay? Thank you so much for everybody that's showing their face. I appreciate seeing all of you guys. Fourth thing, this is super important to understand, the savings component can be invested. Additionally, the policyholder can access the cash while alive by either withdrawing or borrowing against it when needed. Whole life policies are a lot what we call more like a better type of savings account. It's not as risky, right? There's no type of risk. The amount that's there, it's averaging maybe a 4 to 5% depending on which company you're going with. But from my own history with whole lives, the only person I sold a whole life to was a business owner that wanted guarantees, okay? The business does this. He wanted to make sure that he was going to get to retirement and have his $500,000 he wanted to have there. It could be more, but I wanted to give him that guarantee, okay? Let me see if someone, okay. Awesome. Sandra, you want to go over, do you want me to go over the final expense? Yeah, okay. Now we're going to go into final expense, guys. Why am I doing this training together? The reason why I'm doing this training together is because of this next, this is called what? It's a, I'm sorry, guys. My brain had a brain fart. Paragraph. Yes, paragraph. It's been so many years I've been out of school. I'm sorry. Okay. Final expense insurance is a whole life insurance. Okay. So a whole life insurance and final expense is the same thing, J-Lo. It's the same thing, Fabi. It's literally the same thing, right? Now look at the next part. Final expense insurance is a whole life insurance policy that has a small death benefit, and it's easier to get approved for. Final expense insurance is also called funeral insurance, bureau insurance, simplified issue whole life insurance, or modified whole life insurance. All are marketing terms that the insurance industry uses to sell small whole life policies with a face value, meaning a death benefit from around $2,000 up to $50,000. Okay? So for us, even with the carriers, we see in the carrier says simplified final expense. That means that's a whole life. Simplified issue whole life. That's a whole life. Bureau insurance. Sometimes you're going to go out there and meet agents and they're going to say, I don't know anything about life insurance. All I do is I sell funeral insurance. Right? That is someone that you might be like, you know what, I can help you or refer me all the other type of clients that you might have. Right? Remember, these type of final expense policies are from around $2,000 all the way up to around $50,000. When I've sold these final expense insurance is for people that already have some type of issues. So one of my first final expense policy, the lady had heart issues in the last 5 years. So the lady was 67 years old. They couldn't get her a term because she had heart issues, right? She had diabetes. So she had a lot of different issues. So the only company we could get her approved for was a Transamerica final expense policy. Okay. So a lot of you guys that are having those type of clients, you always have to have in mind that if they're over 60, maybe what they would qualify for is going to be a final expense policy. Okay. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Now, Sandra, can you go into the other takeaways? Now, if I'm going fast, guys, is because this is super simple. Okay. And at the end, I'm going over some other things that we need to write down, but I'm just going fast so that you guys can kind of get it. Are we doing well? It's because all of you guys are super smart. Okay. I would love to know who's Jay's baby. I'm interested. We'll see. Jay's baby, if you can reveal yourself, we would appreciate it. Okay, so final expense key takeaways, okay? Are you guys writing this? You too, Jackie? That's your birthday? She's not writing it. She's like, what? Okay. So final expense key takeaways. Guys, tomorrow call Jacqueline and be like, hey, I need you to help me with final expense policy. And if she acts all flustered, you'll be like, I thought you were in the training yesterday, right? I tell Jackie, I'm like, Jackie, I need you to assist me.
I'm trying to multitask.
Gita Pimentel, awesome. Questions, guys, because this training is quick. So this is, you guys have an opportunity to ask questions. What are the differences between whole life and universal life, please? Okay, so whole life, Gita, is fixed. Universal life, most of the time, is way more flexible. That's why it's called universal, meaning it's flexible. You can put a little bit more in there. You can put a little bit less. It moves around with you. Now, a big thing that you need to understand is that universal life, most of the time, is cheaper than whole life because with time, universal life policy, cost of insurance might rise with your age. And in whole life policies, it stays fixed. Now, that's why when we structure universal life policies or IULs, we need to understand how to illustrate it and structure it so that in the future, the cost of insurance continues to go lower instead of higher, and you can accumulate more cash value. Hopefully that answered your question, Gita. So universal life policy is way more flexible. It could be cheaper, and whole life policy can be way more fixed, more like a square, but there's clients for both of them. Yes, you're welcome. Okay, so final expense insurance is just a marketing term for a small whole life insurance policy that is easy to qualify. Okay, remember guys, these carriers want to sell products. We want to sell products. So they're phenomenal at marketing. When you're able to understand the language of life insurance, you're able to understand that at the end of the day, everything is the same. There's just little things here and there that change. That's why I always tell individuals, the only thing we're doing is on the life side, we sell life insurance, we protect families. On the annuity side, we protect income, we protect money. That's the only two things we're doing, okay? Key takeaway number 2, the beneficiaries of a final expense life insurance policy can use the policy's payout for any purpose whatsoever. Okay, so this is very important to understand. Sometimes you sit with a family, you sell them a final expense policy, and they're like, yeah, when I die, right, I'm going to use this policy for that. Yeah, that works. Jane, that's perfect. But Jane, I still think you need to meet with my friend Elvia or with my friend John that do burial planning, because do you know what type of coffin you want to buy? What color? Do you want roses? Do you want to be incinerated? Do you want to be buried? Like, if you're able to do, might as well also get them to take and buy those plans, might as well, because at the end of the day, they're going to have the peace of mind that they know what's going to happen when they die. That's amazing. Second thing is they're going to have the income there. So when they pass away, the life insurance policy is there to make sure that it helps the family with added costs that come with death. Remember, you want to let them know is you need to make sure you're really well prepared in all different cases, okay? Third thing, the death benefit is usually somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000. Meaning, if someone comes at you guys and says, Fabi, I want to get $500,000 for my 65-year-old mother. You might think 65, final expense, but 500,000. That's when you might be able to say, let me do a universal life policy. Okay, so universal life policies, there's one with Mutual of Omaha that guarantees death benefit till age 120. And there's also a universal life policy with North American that guarantees a death benefit till age 120. Okay. Do you guys remember the circle of life strategy that I talked on Saturday, the 19th? Yes. So maybe a universal life policy might be more beneficial for that. Now, remember, guys, final expense policies are amazing because once you're there with the grandpa, grandma, they're gonna tell you, sit with my beneficiary is my son. So then you sit with a beneficiary, the son, and the son is gonna be in his 40s, and the son is gonna have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, and he wants life insurance, J-Lo. He doesn't want life insurance, he needs life insurance. And how you sell a life insurance to John, the son, you tell him, now we have your mother taken care of. But if you die, who's gonna take care of your children? Who's gonna help them? Who's gonna help? Is it gonna be your mother? What if it's gonna happen if then she passes away? So in a way, you go in there with a product to make sure you cover the whole family. Okay? Awesome. Now, Sandra, do you want me to go in? Can I just go in? Because I wanted to do a little bit of talk about Medicare. Because it has to do with final expense. Okay. So
Yes.
before Sandra.
Do you want us to share your screen? Or you don't have to share it. I'll just stop sharing and we'll see your beautiful face.
Okay, perfect. So guys, it's super important. So now we know about final expense, right? And a lot of you guys know that with final expense, we're going to be using a lot of the companies like America or Mutual of Omaha for final expense policies. Now, you guys do know that in the back office in the drive, there's a list of 20 companies where you can buy final expense leads, right? J-Lo, Fabi. And inside of those leads, one of the biggest things is, the cool thing about those leads is that those are leads that people asked. Yes, here's my email. I want coverage. Call me. Okay. So what I wanted to make sure we did was, if you're going to already buy a lead, you're going to invest to go out there and help someone with a final expense policy, wouldn't it make sense to make sure you can help them with all the other products that are catered for individuals that are 65 and up? Yes? Exactly. So the idea is to make sure that you guys are well prepared and are able to help the client with so many different type of products. So as of last week, we added Medicare to what we do. Okay. So now, if you guys have a health license, you can add Medicare to your platform. And if you don't have your health license, you can take it and add that service to you. Now, why is this important, Fabi? Okay. The reason why this is important is we want to make sure we retain clients. Okay. And the clients that have the most amount of products are the clients that continue to give you business. The client I helped, Jose, up north with $1,000 whole life, I ended up doing more than $2,000 a month in products, okay? So I did like 10 products. Then I rolled over 2 IRAs. This guy, I call him, he's a business owner. I told him, hey, ask for that SBA loan. He did. He gets $150,000 and then he calls me. He's like, Isaac, I don't need the money. Where do we put it? He wants to continue giving me business because he has been giving me all his business. And I told him that is literally for a disaster. It's called a disaster loan. I'm like, Jose, I would love to make the commissions on this, believe me. But I'm like, I don't want to put you in a scenario where you might need the money in the future because we don't know. He has a restaurant. Imagine. That's a tough business. So what I'm saying is, Medicare, after you turn 65, right? After you turn 65, that's when you got to get Medicare. Wherever in the country, in the 50 states, wherever you live at, you got to be able to go out there and get Medicare. Now, who helps these individuals? Health agents. Now, with our health license, we're just going to focus on Medicare. Why? Because it makes sense for our final expense clients. Okay. Now, when someone is turning 65, what are they also doing, J-Lo, at 65? They're thinking of retirement? Yes. So that's an amazing way for you to get rollover clients, okay? Because now you can go in there and maybe someone refers you just to do Medicare, okay? But you can roll over the $100,000 in their 401k. You can give a final expense to his husband, to her wife. And from there, you can do something for the beneficiaries. Now, Medicare, right? The reason why we don't hear a lot about Medicare is because most individuals open up their agency, they pay the agents a salary to go out there and bring these clients, and the agent keeps all the residuals, okay? So from day one, what I wanna make sure we do is, I want you to know that I'm here rooting for you guys to make sure you make the most amount of money you can. Now, doesn't matter where you're at, everybody gets paid the same with Medicare. I get paid the same, that Fabi, that Jen, it's not like life insurance, okay? So if they are just turning 65, Sandra, and they go out there and enroll for Medicare, they're gonna pay you around $650 to $680 right up front for the year, okay? Gita is like, I'm ready to have my health license. Awesome, Gita. So listen to this, okay? This is important, Gita. You know, something I love about Gita is that she's right now in Florida. So she's 2 hours ahead. She was literally one of the first ones that jumped in the call. It's 9 p.m. Literally it's 9:30 p.m. And she jumps on all these calls. She's so hungry. We're so happy to have you, Gita. We're really happy. Oh, 10:30 p.m. Okay, I'm gonna hurry up, Gita, for you. Okay, so if you're brand new, 65, and you enroll into Medicare, they'll pay you from $650 to $680 right up front for the year. Okay. And the year after, they're going to continue to pay you $29 every month. $29 every month. If that agent, if that client, Fabiola, is with you for the next 20 years, you're going to make 29 times 12 times 20, another $7,000 passively for that client. Now, let's imagine that you go out there, and a good Medicare agent, from what I've seen, is they're making around 350 to 450 enrollments every year. So let's say that you guys in 2 years enroll 500 people. 29 times 500. The passive income you're building for your business is $14,000 a month passively. Okay. Now, $14,000 a month passively every month. The cool thing about this product is that it's the government paying it. The government has to pay it. It's not the market, it's not this, it's not that. Something that we need to understand is sometimes when we talk about passive income, we think about going out there, maybe building an agency, but some people say, I don't want to deal with people. I hate people, right? Some people say, I don't want to recruit. I don't like recruiting. Other people say, you know what? I'm going to build passive income through real estate. Now think about, what do you got to do to get 14,000 a month? You got to go out there, and in California, you got to buy 10 homes, or maybe 7 homes that are paying you 2,000 a month. Okay. 7 homes that are paying 2,000 a month, but 7 homes in California are $500,000 each. So 7 times 5, that means that you, to be able to get 14,000 a month, you need to have $3.5 million to invest in 7 properties. That's a lot of money, guys. And you guys are able to do that passively through Medicare. Okay. When a lot of my thought process changed was when my friend Omar, you'll get to know him soon. He's telling me that his last year, he has more than 15 carriers, but with his number 1 carrier, he enrolled 3,000 people, him and his agency. So right off the bat, he's been years doing this, And now just in this past year, he added another $90,000 of passive income every month to his agency. Okay. So the idea is, the reason why we're adding this is because I want to make sure that Jennifer Lopez Ortega can have 10,000 a month coming in while she's going out there and making another 10, 15, 20,000 on the life side. Right? Now, it's super important to know that you guys are right now more than ever super blessed because we have those 11,000 people turning 65 every day. Now, something I didn't know, Fabi, Jennifer, Gita, Elvia, Vanessa, is that Medicare is free. We don't have to sell it. Medicare is literally free. Like, it's free. You go in, they need it. You give them, you fill out the application and sign them up, right? So for me, my friend was telling me how it's so simple for life insurance agents because we're used to selling life insurance, selling the strategy, selling in 20, 30 years, you're going to have these 2 million. And sometimes people are like, I'll think about it. Right? So it's free, guys. So not only, right, you're going to be able to go out there and become the advisor or that coach, financial coach for that family, but more importantly, you'll be connecting with them and they'll be referring you because now you're going to have more of an intimate relationship because you're serving the family in so many different ways. And that makes me happy. The reason why I came into this industry is to make sure that we can make a good living. But the second thing is making sure that we all can have a good living while we serve our clients and our families. So I was super excited. And that's why we added final expense and whole life because you're going to be able to go out there and add all the other products. Okay. So I want you to start thinking, when are you guys going to quit your job? Put a date. Okay. You got to put a date. You got to jump in. You got to get ready. And we got to just kick some ass. With that being said, is Sandra, the floor is all yours.
Gracias. How's everyone? I hope after Isaac's training, you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm just gonna go over a couple things and regarding everything. And one of the things that I wanted to mention, don't get overwhelmed with the information that Isaac is sharing about Medicare because you're like, oh, here we go, another new thing to learn. It's not that bad. It's actually not that complicated. You'll be learning with time. When you're ready, if you have your health license, when you want to utilize it, I think someone in here in this group asked me, hey, I have my health license. What can I do with it? Well, you can do Medicare. And we'll have the tools and resources to train as well in regards to that. But I don't want you to get distracted because it's super easy to be like, oh, shiny objects, we'll do this. And then we forget about the basics. And we've been going over the basics. Like last class, it was about the basics. We talked about mortgage protection. This class is about final expense, the basics. So I'm not calling anyone out. I just want to mention who is ready to sell mortgage and final expense. Why? Because you already are contracted. Okay. So we know Cynthia Acedo, they already passed her agent number. Itzel, Burquez Carolina, Carlos Humphrey, Jennifer Ortega, and Sanchez Elvia. All of you guys are already contracted with Americo, and some of you already got your information with Mutual of Omaha. Gita is also with Americo too, I believe so. Yeah. So you guys, if you already have your agent number, you should be already like setting appointments, making your action plan, how many clients I'm going to see this week. Or like Elvia approached to me last week and he's like, Sandra, can you help me with, actually, yeah, Cynthia and Elvia already sold her first policies. That's true. And Elvia was like, hey, Sandra, how can we do the leads? I want to buy leads. How are we going to do it? So I'm going to see Elvia this Wednesday and we're going to talk about the leads because we're also buying leads because we want to make sure that we kind of help you throughout the process of getting leads as well. I know we have Fabi pending. I know we reach out today because we're checking on yours. And then Vanessa and also, well, the rest that are here as well. Also, I want to say big shout out to Gita because she set up already 2 appointments for me this week, and she's in Florida, and she set up in California, and she's like, "Can you go see these clients because they need your help?" And I am here to help. She has my Calendly, and I was able to set those appointments. Why am I talking about this? Just because I want to make sure that you're actually utilizing these trainings on. We talked about how to illustrate a mortgage protection policy and how to illustrate a final expense, which is a whole life. So it's up to you now to be able to make those calls and see how can you serve. Now, we have scripts. If you buy leads, we have scripts as well. And some of you have access to the FFL app, some of you don't. Please, Jennifer, do you have access to the FFL app already? Yeah. Okay, the scripts are there. I just wanted to make sure. I know Cynthia and Elia do have access as well, and Vanessa too. So Fabi, you don't have access yet, right? Because you haven't gotten your agent number. That's correct. So we're waiting on the agent number. So the reason why I wanted to mention that, it's because we are starting this week to track numbers. Why do we want to track numbers? Because we want to know where we're at in production, and to keep this, we want you to make money. Then once you start, and we want to communicate, of course, like Isaac mentioned, let's communicate so that we can help you get this going. Right now, more than ever, yeah, there's a big opportunity. With Medicare, once you feel comfortable, if you have your health license, then there's an extra process that we have to do, and then we have to get you appointed with the carriers. We'll guide you through the process of Medicare. Medicare, I see it as a tool that you make additional money, and I'm going to acquire clients for life insurance and annuities. That's the main thing, right? That it's easier for us to get those clients. Instead of buying the leads, you have the Medicare people, and there's a lot of people retiring. So there's a lot of people turning 65 nowadays that need these type of plans. Yes, Kita, I'm gonna do a training on buying leads. I shared a Google document that we have to read before we even start thinking of buying leads. I'm gonna reshare it again with the WhatsApp group and the Facebook group, so we know exactly what it is. And that sheet specifically, it says that it's designed for you to make $10,000 a week if you buy that certain amount of leads. But it's so many carriers, so many vendors, and I know it could be confusing, so that's why we're going to be here to help. And then there's scripts as well on how to close those leads. So for me, it's crucial for everyone to know. Please, if you have questions about mortgage protection and final expense, now this week is the time to ask those questions, because we're going to start moving towards a little bit more complex products. And I want you to have the basics of this so you can start making money right now. I can tell you that I know Elvia and Cynthia wrote a policy last week, and it was a mortgage protection policy, and the other one was a final expense, and the commission was as if it was an IUL, because of the simplified, and it was approved right on the spot. Actually, just let me share this. Cynthia's client got declined with NLG a couple months back, and because of her credit or something like that happened. So we applied to the client, did this application. Cynthia did this application last week, and at that moment, it got approved. That instant moment, the client was so happy, because she's like, oh my God, I have insurance now. I don't have to worry about it. I thought they were not going to approve me anywhere. So, and it was paid, and then like within 2 days. So it paid to the agent. So that's why I have a sense of urgency right now for everyone to start putting numbers on the board. I even bought my beautiful board in here so I can write everyone's numbers with colorful pencils and everything. So super crucial. We're going to start reporting numbers this week, starting Friday. So Fridays, we report numbers because we want to keep track of everything and make sure that we're on the right track. And if you need help, remember, this is a week to ask for help on these basic products. And also on Tuesdays at 12, we're doing accountability calls. If it's something that you would like to do. For example, I know Elvia, it's a full-time, and I know she will be on the calls, because we want to make sure that, hey, do you need help with phone zone or things like that we do those quick calls at 12 on Tuesdays. I don't want to overwhelm you with information, but I just wanted to go over that. And also the November calendar is coming up tomorrow. We have actually some guest trainings. For example, Carol Speckman is going to be training next month, and she's going to be training in her industry and how you can leverage her industry to sell mortgage protection as well. And then we're going to have another guest speaker too. And just as an announcement, if you remember how to find your calendar, we have a special training on Thursday. If you want to join, I'm going to record it. This is just an add-on for you. I want to make sure that you know how to organize your business when it comes to taxes and accounting, because I've seen this very often, agents making the mistake of not organizing their income and their expenses. And it's very different. If you're on a W-2, being self-employed and having your own business, it's a complete different game. Thursday, I have it at 6. Does that work for everyone? Just want to make sure. I'm going to record it anyways, but I have it at 6 on Thursday. And it's just a special training that I'm going to do on that, just for you to organize your business. Okay. And then, and on the 24th, October 24th, it's a Saturday. We're going to have a training on complex case design. Isaac has been writing a lot of Keyman Insurance lately, has been writing a couple of these complex cases. So he wants to share with actually the agents that are already writing business for business owners. I know, for example, Carolina Burgues is going to want to be in that training, and probably Elvia is going to be in that training. It is a little bit more complex, but we want to do it on a Saturday. We're either figuring out if it's going to be here at the office or Zoom, but it's going to be a training from like 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's just going to be case design, illustrations for these type of clients, and all that complex, another level. If you don't feel ready, that's okay. We're gonna try to record it, and we're gonna have these trainings like ongoing. I just wanted to give you the information of everything that is gonna be out there. We're actually leaving Isaac and myself to a training for American Mutual of Omaha and our partner FFL, and we're getting more training to be able to share. And we're going to be back before the 24th, so we're going to share more information that we're getting from the training over there on the 24th. Okay. What else do I have to go? Just that, make sure you check your calendar. We have already the trainings. For example, next week, we're going to talk about guaranteed universal life. So for example, Ikita had a question about the difference between universal life and whole life. Next Monday, we're going to talk about just guaranteed universal life with Mutual of Omaha. We're going to give you all the details about that product so you can sell it and know how to. But see how we're kind of like going to another step. It's not only term, and it's not only a simple whole life. So it's going to get a little bit more complex. And then we're also going to talk about how to utilize our tools and resources to increase sales. I'm going to do a little bit of training on how to use our debt reduction calculator that we have, the Excel sheet, so you can start utilizing that for your clients. So it's just basics. Let me see if someone has questions. No, this is not the Thursday. Okay, perfect. It's just basics. So again, Friday, it's the day to report numbers. This is the week to communicate with us. If you don't understand something about mortgage protection or a final expense, remember, you're not going to understand everything, because we learn with time on how to do things. Or if you want us to be in an appointment, set that appointment up so you have our calendar link, and you can set up the appointments. I know Susana as well. She set up like 3 appointments this week with me for different clients. And so we can start moving that. I know the people that we have pending on getting an agent number, and we're pushing that. And believe me, we've heard that there's agents that have been waiting for a while because of COVID. And we're just like desperate on that, but well. One of the things that Isaac that I wanted to mention that about whole life, before I forget, who do we have for whole life? Do we know who are the carriers that we can utilize to write a whole life policy? Do we all know? No? Okay. So we have Mutual of Omaha for final expense and simplify underwriting. We have Americo, right? That has a simplified policy. Okay. Now we have NLG. NLG, it's not a final expense policy. It's going to be more like a regular, it's a regular whole life. And we can now illustrate an NLG a whole life. Back in the days, we were not able to do it in our back office. Now we can do it. We have Foresters. And some of you already received your agent number with Foresters that we could do whole lives as well. I mean, when it comes to which one has the best whole life, it depends what type of client you're helping with that whole life. Why do I want to mention this? Is just because we want to let you know that there's options. There's also Lafayette. Now, Lafayette will not contract us unless you have a piece of business to write. So unless we have a piece of business to write with them, then we can get the contracting with them going, okay? But we have access to that company as well. Why am I mentioning this? Is because next week, remember, we're going to talk about only Guarantee Universal Life. So I want to make sure that we get all of those questions. And then if you don't have your agent number, once you have your agent number, you're going to be ready to write business. Remember, if you have access to the FFL app, okay, there's videos in there on what we talked about last week, on what we're talking about today's training as well. And then we have the scripts in here in this app. You could see all the scripts for final expense mortgage protection. Please read the lead guide if you're interested in buying leads. And I can do a training specifically on that. And we can buy leads together. I can show you how to get the leads, but I don't want you to buy the leads if you're not going to block time to cater to those leads. Why? Because once you get the lead, you have to call the client using the script. You have to set up the appointment, and you have to actually help the client. So if you cannot block time to be able to nurture those leads, don't spend money, right? So we want to make sure that, okay, I'm ready to buy leads. I'm going to block 2 days a week from this time to this time to serve these clients that I'm going to get from the leads so you can get results. There's another question. Yes, the lead thing. Isaac is asking how to get to the lead manual. So let me access it from here, guys, so I can share my screen. Give me a sec. Our capital. Okay, so share. Remember, I'm going to send you the link, but we have a folder through Google Drive for our capital where you can find the carrier's information, right? Americo, Athene, Gillico, Mutual of Omaha, John Hancock. We have more. We have the training calendar here for our capital and NLG. And we have the welcome process. Most of you have seen this. And then we have this one that says leads. If we open it, it's like a 3-page, okay? We have to make sure we watch the tutorials and we read the whole document before we jump into buying those leads. The breakdown here is to get $10,000 a week. Now, if you're a part-timer, probably that's gonna be way too much work or you're not gonna have the time, right? But it's just to give you an idea. With the guide, it's for you to get to buy 10,000, not to buy 10,000, to be able to sell 10,000 in premium a week. Okay, I'm gonna give you access to say something. Don't worry, Jackie. Jackie's like, please, let me talk. Let me say something. Okay, so please read this. I'm gonna share the link again. Before I give this microphone to Jackie, is there any questions? Do you feel you want to schedule a one-on-one with one of us to talk only about mortgage protection and final expense? Any questions, guys? No? No? Everything good? Okay. So I want to see everyone on Friday sending numbers, or at least sending, hey, I want to make sure that I do one appointment a week. Just the accountability part, that it's super, super crucial, because that's how we're going to grow, and that's how we're going to move forward. We have I'm going to announce it to them, Isaac. Within the next 2 weeks, we're gonna have 45 more agents that just signed up with us. So they're moving, like you're gonna see more people in the trainings, but we're going through the transition because again, the contracting is taking a while. But just to give you a heads up that you're gonna be seeing more new faces that are already in the industry. We have a lot of agents that move, they have experience in the industry and they just want better contracts. So that means that we're gonna have to even perform better. Every one of us, we wanna show like we were working as a team. So ¿cómo lo puedo decir? They're pushing us, right? They're gonna be pushing us. Hey, is everyone producing in here? Okay, so which is good, and we're gonna be able to learn from everyone. Okay, Fabi, I'll make sure that we send you our calendar. You can schedule it with me or Isaac. Okay, either or. I'll send you my link. Okay. Any other questions before I give it to Jackie? Hi. No? Okay, Jackie, you can go.
Hi, everyone. So just really quick, I hope everybody's doing as fabulous as I am. Okay, no, for real. So, well, two things, okay? I know I sent out the contract terms and conditions. I've only received a few, and I've only received like probably 3% of what I sent. But so if you could please send that to me, I'd really appreciate it. And just make sure you're attaching a copy of your driver's license or a valid state ID. And if you have not sent me your life license or health license, go ahead and send that to me as well. And a voided check. So that's it for the terms and condition part. So the second part is I have only received one cover sheet